design, inspiration, and construction. Today I'd like to take you through what went through my head when creating the Cotswold Carryall, the whys, the whats, and the hows of this particular design. Now, the Cotswold Carryall bag is a new video course that's now been complete on the Leathercraft Masterclass. So if you want to make your very own bag just like this, head over to leathercraftmasterclass.com and you'll have all the information you need to get started there. In the meantime, the idea behind the Cotswold Carryall bag was multiple, really. The main focus was on something that's a little bit more simple to create. And I also wanted to do something a little bit different. As you can see here, the entire bag isn't made of leather. On the outside, we have what's known as Harris tweed, which is a wool fabric material. It's a hand woven in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland. Bit of a nod to British heritage, British craftsmanship, and just something different out of all solid leather designs. Nothing wrong with an all solid leather design, of course, but to create something unique, I experimented a little bit more with fabrics, and it also makes it slightly more lightweight versus all solid leather. So what I've gone for here is Harris tweed and English bridle leather. Any vegetable tan leather is going to do for this. And as you can see on the ends, we have a solid gusset. So this is a one-piece gusset with an attachment for shoulder straps as well. It is a welted design, which means this gusset actually goes in towards the edges. It is stitched onto a welt, which is then stitched onto the outside of the bag. You can also see here, this is an edge paint, this is edge binding. So it's a thin strip of leather that goes over that raw edge and basically seals in the fibers of the fabric that we've used on the outside. Of course, you can use any fabric. You can use full leather if you want to. It makes no difference to design if you use Harris tweed, canvas, calf skin. The choice is really up to you. You could even probably use goat skin because we have a separate panel on each side and a bag base underneath, which is again vegetable tan leather. The handles on this are a little bit different. In the masterclass courses, we have gone through rolled handles, folded handles, filled with various different things. There's quite a plethora of handles within the courses. I can't name them all, but there's probably over half a dozen now. These are detachable handles. I can simply push this through, undo the buckle on both sides and remove that if I wanted to. And the idea behind this is to keep things very simple. You can use what I've done here, which is two pieces of leather, flesh side to flesh side. So essentially you've got grain on the outside, grain on the inside. You could just do solid leather if you wanted to. Just cut a strip of, say, 3mm leather or something near. So easily replaceable as well. You don't have to do all the stitching that I've done here if you're using solid leather. It means the handles are replaceable as well, very easily replaceable, and it wouldn't take too long to cut a strip of leather, punch two holes in it, and change out the colors, be a bit more creative in that aspect. But it also allows us to add an umbrella holder on this side, as you can see here. Very simply secures an umbrella but slides out very easily. There are two loops attached by a Chicago screw, and on the front there, if you wanted to, you could manually just pull this. This is a sand brown stud, so I can open it out that way if I wanted to, and it retains the umbrella very securely, so that's going nowhere. And if I wanted to change the orientation, I could undo this one, put it on this side so that I could have the zip at the back instead of the front. So you get the idea. On the inside, it is actually leather. So I wanted this Harris tweed to have a very leather-like feel, and one way to do that is to use a fully glue-in lining. So that means on the inside, we have a large sheet or rectangle of leather, which is chrome tanned leather, so it has that softness, and it's glued directly to the Harris tweed on the outside. So they share kind of the characteristics. They stiffen up because we've essentially created a lamination, and they're not loose like a lot of linings are. So it allows it to be a little bit more structured. Of course, the solid gussets will help with that. But we have a very leather-like feel with a fabric on the outside. A glue-in lining is also easier to produce because you can simply glue the two layers together, leather for the lining on the inside and Harris tweed on the outside, then cut it and then fit your gussets, adding your zips at the top. So it takes out a lot of the confusion and simplifies the process, but still creates a very practical and structured bags. I haven't included pockets in this particular design because we've included it in the previous courses, and if you want to add them, you can do that. You can have them built in, you can have them free hanging, for example. I've left it as is so people can use their own creativity to create whatever they want. So on the inside, you will see the stitching from the outside. And this is really where linen thread begins to come into its own, because as many of you know, linen thread swells when it gets wet. So if it were to rain, for example, we do have waterproof PVA glue, which is gluing the two layers together. So that's not going to be affected. And the linen thread swells to fill the holes that we created when we stitch this in all together. It's a very durable, very classic bag with a little bit of a nod to the equestrian side of British leather goods and the design. And as you can see, we've even included an umbrella here. But the great thing about this is it is really a blank canvas. You could, instead of using Harris tweed, you could use a flag instead. You can use canvas, you could use something that's created in your local city or local town, or something that means something to you. You could even use some curtains that you have laying around that meant something to you. You can really play around with this and do something different, or you can very simply just use leather on the outside as well and have a fully leather bag. So it's a very flexible design in that way and allows you to create something a little bit more unique. I've also included a simple lock in this. We have a D-ring on the end here, and that serves as an anchor point for our leather wrapped lock, which goes in to the zip puller here. And this is a fully wrapped leather lock. So this is a small, tiny padlock, 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters. This is a real padlock. It's not a jewelry padlock or some of the kind of like Mickey Mouse padlocks that you get with handbags that aren't really locks. They don't provide any kind of security. This is made with hardened steel and solid brass body, so it is an actual lock that you would use. People are still going to get in your bag if they absolutely have to. You could slash a bag open, but it serves as more of a deterrent for people getting into your bag if it's unattended for a short period of time or underneath your seat. And it also adds a bit of a delay. People actually have to do something in order to get in. They're not just going to slide the zip open and reach inside. So it adds a little bit of security there. But instead of just adding a lock, we've leather wrapped it to the same color as the bridle hide. And it's completely seamless as it's been skived, so the seams overlap and kind of hide into itself. And there's no stitching whatsoever on it. So it gives a little bit of a kind of like a mystery. How do you completely wrap this with no seams in it? So it's a little bit of trickery going on here, but it also adds a bit of a flair to it, a bit of a nod to craftsmanship, because it's not particularly easy to do unless you've done it a couple of times. So practice on this is essential. It does quiet it down a little bit when it's moving around. If you've left it on here, if leather is hitting leather, it's a lot quieter than if it was wanging around and it was metal hitting the leather. It would also potentially scratch the leather as well. So this does add a little bit of practical protection in that regard as well. Taking a look on the inside of the bag. Difficult to see on the inside here, but we have solid leather, as I mentioned before. It's fully stitched through all the way. This design is a lot simpler than some of the other ones, like the de Havilland travel bag that we've gone through. Also some of the laptop cases. We have a little under 500 millimeters long, so about ½ meter opening. It doesn't open along the sides. We could have done that, but it would add a lot of complexity, and the idea behind this was very simple. It's still easy to open up and add whatever you need to inside and extract it. So in my opinion, it doesn't impede the functionality of it, but it definitely improves the construction speed and also the ease in which you can do it. Along the zip here, we have 2 strips of leather. This is our reinforcement, hides the zip tape finishing, which is sandwiched on the inside between the lining and the exterior. But it also adds a little bit of rigidity along the top as well. So it's not moving around while we're trying to grab the zip, and it adds a little bit of stiffness to it, but still remains overall flexible. So this isn't a very solid structured bag like something like a case, like an attaché case or something like that, but it adds some structure. It doesn't completely fall under its own weight, but it's not so stiff that it makes it difficult to use. Underneath we have 5 bag feet. These are solid brass bag feet. Obviously on the inside it's hidden underneath the lining and everything glued or Loctited in place so it doesn't move around. And that just kind of protects the bottom of the bag, but it's completely up to you whether you add those. Some people like adding them. I personally do. Some people don't, especially if you like to put your bag on the top of the car, which I've done in some of my shots, but I put a little electrical tape under there to make sure it didn't scratch. So in this bag, I wanted to create something that was different, unique, showing off new ideas that you could then use on other bag designs to make something a little bit more unique. Some designs in here are kind of geared towards keeping things very simple, and some design elements are completely brand new to the Leathercraft Masterclass, and as far as I'm aware, not available online or even in books. So this is the Cotswold Carryall bag. It's a 4-part bag making series and is available right now on leathercraftmasterclass.com.